The closer we get to Modern Horizons 3, the more likely we are to see some really funky sales numbers, and this week is where we're starting things off. Welcome back to the top 10 hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering this week from April 19th to the 26th of 2024. We have a lot of loaded potato to talk about. Let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. A reminder before we start the top 10 video that if you enjoyed today's content, I hope you will like and subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notification bell as we have new videos every single day. You can also support my channel just by using my TCG Player affiliate link if you're shopping for any of the cards you happen to see in today's video. Now let's start out at the number 10 card, which I did not expect to see here, but it looks like our Grima Sauron's Footman is seeing a little bit of CDEH, and it is having a blast when it's there. Now this thing has 2,632 sales, or a total sales volume of $13,028.40. Now, I did not expect to see the few commander cards we are seeing on the list this week, but it seems like a lot of people are tuning in to a lot of these YouTube content creators putting a whole bunch of crazy decks together and having a blast while they're doing it. Now, I have seen Grima used 1 or 2 times so far myself in the local pods I've been playing with, and yes, I've been smashed each time, but that's not the point. The point is to have a good time playing Magic, enjoy ourselves, and of course, stick around to see what the number 9 card's going to be, because if this is number 10, what could 9 possibly be? Well, our number 9 card, we are going all the way back here, okay? We are not done with Universes Beyond Warhammer, and that's where we get it. This is the Cesarian Infiltrator. If I pronounced that correctly, guys, you'll let me know in the comment sections. 2,734 sales, or a total sales volume of $32,616.62. It's $11.93 on average for this uncommon, but here's the thing that really gets me. The cards we're seeing selling, the volumes in which these cards are moving are a lot higher than I expected, and not all these cards are obviously from the release of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So that really gets you kind of wondering where the Commander format is really headed, if it's infiltrated the entirety of Magic the Gathering, and if players are going to sour on this format over the long term just because it's permeating everything going on right now in Magic, and that leaves a sour taste in the mouth of a lot of players. I'm starting to hear it more and more. Even though players love playing it, it's kind of getting to that point where it seems like it's just been done. It's over. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our number 8 card. This is Smuggler Surprise. Comes in at $3.38 to take the number 8 slot. 2,812 sales, or a total sales volume of $9,504.56. Now this is a 1 green instant with Spree, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. +2, you get to mill 4 cards. 1 green and 4 other, and you can put 2 creature cards from your hand right onto the battlefield. Add another +1 later on. You get to do crazy stuff. I love the Spree mechanic. It's really being thought highly of right now. Between that and plot, let's face it, Thunder Junction has a lot to offer players, and there's a lot of sales going on. And as we go through the video, you're going to see more and more of these types of sales going on. Now, our next card's a bit of a surprise as well. I didn't expect to see it on the list this week, but it did manage to stick around. So although the Smuggler Surprise I kind of knew would be here just by the price point and how much I'm seeing it being bought, the next one here kind of got me a little bit. So let's take a look at the number 7 card. Now this is Terror of the Peaks. I told you guys I believed, the value was going to sink, which it is. It's slowly coming down, but it still has a massive price point that can't be ignored. I mean, the 2,863 sales is just insane. This is week 2, and this is a reprint card, but it still managed to bring in $52,249.75. This week's sales are just insane. Like, where do we go from here when you start seeing cards like these selling in the volumes they're at? Now, we have upcoming sets like Modern Horizons 3, which will start to draw attention away from some of these cards. But again, the lower overall openings of these boxes means we're going to see some more janky, weird prices still coming. So cards like Terror of the Peaks may not dip much lower. I still think it may go down by a few dollars, but that may not mean a lot in the long-term longevity of certain cards like this, as long as they're not overtaken by some form of power creep or just a strictly better version. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, and this is another one I did not expect to see here this week. This is the Vaultborn Tyrant. Now, I'm going to revise what I had said about this card because I have now played against this card several times in Arena, and this thing has smashed me. I haven't played it in any of my standard nights, but I have played this thing on Arena, and it is just a beast when it gets going. 2,901 sales. That's $77,000 in value. This is a high-priced item that actually went up in value when I actually anticipated it going down. But again, after me seeing this thing played against me, I can see where the value is going to be, and I can see that players really love the dinosaurs, and they're going to continue to purchase cards like this. Now let's drop into our next card, again coming to us from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and we are taking a look at Combo the Profiteering Mayor. Now, this thing's only $1.78, okay? I have run into this thing a couple times in Standard, some Friday Night Magic, just seeing how it plays out, and I've managed to pummel this guy with my Slickshot deck that I'm trying to build. Even the half-built deck that I'm working with has been able to take this guy out because I finished the game so fast, but at the same time, I like the idea of this card, and I think these cards will have bigger longevity going down the road. 2,909 sales at $1.78 a copy. Sure, it's only $5,178 in total sales volume, but this will be an underappreciated, low-value card that a lot of players can build with and still have a competitive chance of doing some damage in the Standard format, and it's probably going to find a home very soon in some form of Commander deck if it hasn't already, although I haven't seen any decks playing with it lately myself. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, and we are dropping in and taking a look at the Gold Vein Hydra, which did not make the list last week. This thing wasn't even in my top 10. It jumps all the way to number 4 this week with 2,925 sales, which is $42,997.50. Now, when I looked at this card, when I first saw it, I saw Hydra. I'm sure many of you did too. And we don't have a real big fondness for Hydras overall because they usually seem weak, but this has held its own so far in Standard, and that's usually where Hydras do okay. Okay, this thing's $14.70, but as a Hydra, it should do okay in Standard, but it doesn't seem to have the longevity in things like Modern. I've seen them in Commander as janky, fun decks. I've never seen one that really could hold up well, but that doesn't mean it's not possible if they keep giving us decent creatures like this. Remember, like, what was that one? The Hydroid Krasis, the Kraken one, Kraken Hydra thing? That thing was crazy for a long time, and it was worth a lot of money, so never underestimate what's going to happen. Now, okay, the Slickshot Showoff. People are now prepared for this deck. It comes in with 3,200 sales, and as you can see, we have a large sales volume with a large price tag, but this card is starting to lose some of its luster. I myself am using this deck, but now about 50% of the time, people are holding on and they are prepared for what I'm going to do. There's no more surprise, no more like wow factor. I know this deck. I know I only have a couple of turns, and I have got my sideboard ready to bring in the cards I'm going to need to carry into game 2 and 3 if they're not prepared in the first game. Because out of the best 2 out of 3, I seem to slaughter people, and then I got to fight my way to victory for the last 2 wins because people are ready for it. So don't be surprised if this guy loses more of his luster and drops down in value, guys. Just be prepared for it because I think it's going to happen. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, and this one comes in to the number 2 position this week, and that is Annie Joins Up. This thing just keeps coming up, okay? 4,090 sales for a total sales volume of $6,707. Now, it's not a big scaled item. I guess somebody is speculating because some people are buying like 30, 40, 50 copies and only spending like 60 bucks. I understand that. I get the mentality behind it. They get discounts, you get some trade in, you're speculating, hoping to make a big turnaround later on if this card really catches on and if the color wheel goes in your favor and some craziness happens. Yes, this card could be something big. It has a lot of pros to it. But at the price tag it's at and the availability, I mean, I've seen this thing bought, but there's tons of copies around. So this is not one of those cards that seems to be hard to find. So keep an eye on that, guys. The speculators are out there as well. They're hunting for the hard-earned cash, and they're hoping to turn those $1 into $10s. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the number 1 card this week. Now, this was here last week, but it was way down the line. And in this case, the Lava Spur Boots totally take the top position. 4,291 sales for total sales volume of $5,192.11. Not the biggest dollar amount, but the sheer volume of sales is huge. And yes, I've seen this multiple times in Standard Night. I've already seen this thing in my Commander groups. And of course, I've seen it playing out in Arena. So I've seen this thing everywhere, and of course it's a low cost, very, very highly utilized card because it's easy to equip, easy to put on. Even if they deal with the ward, they have to deal with it again because you can put it on another creature the next turn. Guys, crazy stuff. Now before we get to the wrap up, just a reminder to everyone that some of these sales volumes may have actually gone higher. I ran out of time. I got up here late, so the counts are a little bit off. I actually expect that if I had revised them, we'd be about 10% higher. The Magic the Gathering marketplace, as we know it today, is still changing and evolving. We are seeing hard to find cards going up in price, supply-demand issues, and even with releases like the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which is having a stronger return for dollar than people expected it to, we are seeing cards that are getting harder to find, prices rising on the singles card because of the amount of players looking for the singles as opposed to boxes and willing to pay the higher price to get those cards. I've seen a few people who said to the owners, whatever the price is, if you get it in, add an extra 10%, 15%, I just need to get this card to get my deck built so I can get in there and play with the deck that I want to build. This I have not seen before. This is something new, and I think we may see this as a kind of spreading infection of how players are going to deal with their singles. They don't want to buy the box. They're they're willing to crack some individual packs, maybe open one collector box pack, but they're not going to open 4 or 5 boxes. They're not going to crack open a case like they used to, like even myself used to. We are seeing this market now where players are looking for those singles cards, so it's going to lead us down a path of supply-demand issues that we are not ready or we're not prepared for it. We talk about it, we discuss these things, you look at the market around you, and it may not be affecting you in the area you're in. It may not be affecting you in your large city. It may not be affecting you because you're buying off of TCG Player, and in most cases you can get it. But in some places, like here in Canada, I can look up cards and I can't get them. They're not available. Only in the States, because not every TCG seller will sell overseas. Then you've got local markets that can't get the cards because they're not willing to crack enough boxes. And they're hoping for trading cards to come. This is definitely the evolving market we talked about 3, 4, 5 months ago when we first saw play boosters really coming around. And we are going to continue to see this kind of evolve and be more creative as players try to find ways to get the cards they want. The sales numbers, I'm not expecting to go down. I think we're going to see some crazy cards from Eldrazi hit next week because of what we saw in Modern Horizons 3. I think we're going to see Legoifs and stuff start to sell because the amount of those we've seen, it gets people's imaginations going. It gets the creative juices going, and that means players are going to spend 5, 10, 15, 25, 30 bucks building little pieces of decks, getting ideas grouped together in the anticipation of what something like Modern Horizons 3 is going to bring to the table. And of course, that is going to affect my top 10. It's going to affect local markets in their sales, and it's going to have players and speculators coming out in droves trying to find a way to get an edge going into the market. Thanks again, guys, for hanging out with me on the channel today. I really enjoy these conversations and these videos, and you guys make it worthwhile. I will see you tomorrow for the top 10 reserve list selling cards, and of course, the live stream 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys can make it out, and I'll see you guys then, okay? Have a great day, everyone, and don't forget, shop smart, shop smart. A big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic patrons and of course my YouTube membership members who make this channel happen by supporting it. You know, when I ended this video off today and you saw all those sales from the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, never underestimate what you think people are going to do. Be prepared for the unexpected and enjoy the ride because you never know what the next day is going to bring. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You've made it here. I'm sporting a Timmy's coffee because I already drank the other coffee. And you know what? Sometimes gift cards come in handy in the desperation days. It's not as good as my wife's coffee, but it'll have to do. It feels huge, too. By the way, it wasn't my coffee. It was my wife's coffee. But I'm drinking it because it's late at night. Got up here late. Had to finish the count. So, I just want to touch on the MTG market at the moment. It's interesting to see how some of the Mirza Markov Manor falls apart. Nothing goes. Okay, 1 or 2 cards sell. I don't even see a lot of the cards being played right now in Arena. I haven't seen a lot of them in standard matches. It seems like people just go, ew, right? But you see something like Thunder Junction, the plot mechanic. Spree, the amount of cards, the synergy. It's a well-built set. I like the cards when I saw them, but the actual sales volumes are they're kind of catching the eye of a lot of people. And there's a lot of speculators in there. I can see it when I look at the numbers and the way some of these cards are selling and the volumes in which certain stacks sell. And I think that is something to be aware of. I'm not to be fearful of, but just be aware that it's out there, because there's always people out there who will cut the corners, can see further than you, see faster than you, and they can pivot quicker than you. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel. Have an awesome day today. I think we deserve it. It's going to be kind of rainy up here. I can't get any chores done. I'll start working on the reserve list video. We'll see what comes loose. I haven't had a real chance because work's been so busy, so I don't know what's going to happen. So I might just be as surprised as you. Have a great one, guys. We'll see you then.